William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I welcome you to another Two Hats special of community events. Let's look in and see what's really happening.
Can everybody hear me?
It's fine.
Okay. We want to convene the monthly meeting of the Alliance Homeless Forum. It's not just a hair. And I hope I'm not talking too loud. Step back a little bit. Can y'all hear me in the back? Okay. I want to do a little preview or prefix or introduction what we do, since I see a lot of people who are not familiar with your faces. We do this meeting once a month on the second Friday of the month, every month at 10:30 a.m. in this room. And the purpose of this meeting is for our homeless clients. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
For our homeless clients to interact with service providers where they can get all the latest information on how they can extricate themselves from the situation of homelessness. Today is a special day, as you can see. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Leon Holman. I am co-chair of the Alliance Homeless Forum, along with Mr. Ricky Red, who's also a co-chair and a member of the MDHA Board of Directors. Is that correct, Ricky?
Yeah.
Okay. And along with us, we have Ms. Siobhan Moore, the fantastic Siobhan. She makes all these meetings possible, and she is with MDHA. Mr. James McClinton, he's with MDHA. And we have several other people who are here. I see Mr. Andrew Lomax with the bridge. I'm trying to see if anybody else here that I need to acknowledge.
Joyce White with Transit Care. Joyce White with Transit Care.
Joyce White with Transit Care. And also our special guest, I see another MDHA, my good friend MDHA over there who does the housing. I see, I can't think of your name offhand, Ms. Bloom, Lisa Bloom. Okay, so I'm gonna acknowledge all these people who are service providers and who have information that may be helpful for people who are trying to get themselves out of homelessness. Somebody's raising their hand. Okay, Ms. Snitzer for the stew pot. Okay, now we've got three special guests. I don't know where I should start. Okay, I'll start with our new MDHA Executive Director. And can you come on up and say something for 30 seconds?
That's all you get.
Yeah, be ready.
My name is Diana, and I'm new to MDHA, as Leon mentioned, and I'm glad to be here, glad to be with you guys. Looking forward to working with all of you and Siobhan to tackle some of your issues and do the best I can in the time I have. So thank you for welcoming me, and I look forward to hearing the rest of what goes on today.
Okay. Right. Okay, and we also have two additional special guests, Commissioner Daniel and our Honorable Mayor Rawlings. And so I'm going to look to
also Fred Cerise, our CEO of Parkland.
Okay, I didn't recognize you back there. Okay, and what?
Fred Cerise.
Fred Cerise, the CEO of Parkland. Is that correct?
That's true.
Okay, all right. Because he's casually dressed, so hey, you know, he just fit right in. You got by me. Okay. So without further ado, we're going to bring on our featured keynote speaker, Ms. Daniels, and so I'm going to move the mic over so you don't have to stand unless you want to stand.
Whatever you want me to do.
I'll just move it on over.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Teresa Dane. I'm a Dallas County Commissioner for District 1. People often look at local government as one hodgepodge, not having much of an idea of who does what. But I'm very proud to be here this morning because county government focuses in on public health and public safety. In my work as a county commissioner, I do a lot of work with mental health in jails, for example. I work with Parkland and Dr. Cerise, thank you for being here. On trails, elections, and just a whole variety of things. But through working with the jails, it became apparent that housing was a foundation piece for people's ability to live a stable life. Through that, Dallas County put together what is called the Dallas County Behavioral Health Housing Work Group to really focus in on the situations in Dallas County, plus what are the responses that we have. It also became very evident in it that the lack of housing, which you go, well, of course, is of primary concern. Part of that, though, too, is, I read a lot about it, I see a lot of the tables and charts about the numbers of this and the amount of affordable housing and just a lot of the numbers, but part of it, too, is that we're affecting people. For that reason, I know that's why I'm here, and I'm assuming, obviously, that's why Mayor Rollins is here. But that it also became apparent that homelessness was a part of housing and employment and education and transportation, healthcare, that so we have formed a partnership between Dallas County and Dallas City that is called, well, I call it the partnership, because it is to address homelessness in our area. Because one of the things we have found is that it's bigger than any of us. There are a lot of agencies, a lot of organizations, a lot of governmental entities addressing homelessness and housing. And we've been doing it for a long time, but it doesn't seem as if we're able to attack the whole part of it. Through the partnership, too, it's become apparent that, once again, addressing how is this impacting people? And for that reason, decided to partner with MDHA, which is a significant contributor in the Dallas area to the good things going on, to listen. And so that's why we're here in what we just entitled a listening forum. So thank you very much for coming out today and allowing me and my staff, Aaron Moore, to be here. And so we're ready to listen, to hear what you have to say. Thank you. Let's hear a moment from, that's all right.
You want me to say something? I came to listen too. I didn't come to talk, but I will say, I'll just underline what the commissioner has said. I think I've talked to many homeless individuals over the years, over the last decade, in the city. And while homeless people, the ones I've talked to, are very appreciative when they see help and they see individuals stepping up. The biggest complaint is, are we forgotten by the elected officials? Does anybody care? And so I am here to send the message that we do care. It's something that we talk a lot about, and it's something that we spend a great deal of time studying. But government and politics are confusing, and it might seem that way when you are on the streets. But let me tell you why I believe action is being taken. Because we've had 2 or 3 renaissances of organizations, either startups or renaissances, that I think are important. The first is the one Commissioner Daniels is co-chair of, and that is the Dallas Area Partnership. To underline again what she said, nobody can do this alone, and whether you're a vet whether you're a homeless child, which there are a lot of, whether you are dealing with the Dallas Police, the jail system, or Parkland, or mental health, we needed to work together. So we created the Dallas Area Partnership, and this is the first time we've ever had that. And the purpose of that is to get all the public entities aligned around a strategy, and we're all going to pull in the same direction versus opposite. Second is there is a new commitment at Metro Dallas Homes Alliance to make sure all the providers are aligned. And they are going to work very closely with any individuals that provide services to the homeless to best do that. And at times, we've not been, okay? Believe it or not, there's competition in the homeless front. Different people trying to raise money, or different people have different rules, and so we're trying to do that. The third part is the City of Dallas. The City of Dallas has historically kind of asked the providers or the county to kind of do things, and the City of Dallas hasn't stepped up to the level it needed to. And so we've got now an individual focused just on human services. They just hired a person a month ago for homeless services. I said they, we did. And so now we have individuals that is their job, and they've got budgets to do what is necessary. Furthermore, we put on our most recent bond election, and a bond election is getting these citizens to permission to go borrow money to build things, $20 million to build housing, permanent housing for the homeless. That's the first time we've ever done that, and so I'm pleased that we've got that. So you see that there are three fronts, and that I haven't even talked about the homeless providers. We've got a new director of Stewpot, new director of the Bridge. We've got a lot of new folks coming on board, and everybody is, I think, committed to pulling together. So I know it must feel that way. I'm not that there's ambivalence out there, but there is not. And we're working hard, and we expect great things from these organizations. Thank you for letting me listen to you.
All right. First, I want to allow our people that you just mentioned, our homeless solution director. She just came in, and so we're going to give us a couple of minutes. We're going to get a couple of chairs, and since the two of you say you want to listen, I guess we need to start with some questions or some answers. How do you, when you want to listen, can you give me some suggestions?
No, I'm just here to listen. You tell me how to do it.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, maybe I introduce myself. I'm Ricky Red. I was homeless in Dallas between 2003 and 2013. I do volunteer work with MDHA. I'm on the board of directors and also the allocations committee that helps decide the funding. And I've had a chance to work with Teresa on the allocations committee and the board of directors. First thing I noticed about her is how knowledgeable she is. First thing when she first spoke, I said, well, she knows what she's talking about. I want to talk about health. And I wrote up this little chart, and I know I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know here, but you got the tent encampment, not a healthy situation. You got people who are alcoholics or drug addicts, or there may be violence or diabetics, and so they end up having to call an ambulance. Okay, I just threw a figure out there, $1,000 for that. Then from there, from the ambulance, they go to the hospital. Okay, the hospital gets them well enough to release them, and from there, they go back to the encampment. And I threw another figure out there, $5,000, $10,000 for the hospital stay. Okay, well, that's costing a lot of money. Well, instead, what if from the hospital they went to a respite bed? And this is something that I was on the mayor's commission 2 years ago. I was on Dr. Spalding's committee on that. So from there, they could get completely healthy. Because when they go back to the encampment, they're not 100% healthy. They're just healthy enough to get out of the hospital. So they can get completely healthy. And once that happens, as that is happening, they can be evaluated and counseled, and then go into either some type of rehab program or housing, depending on their situation, and then after rehab, housing. And so, now, this down here, compared to this up here, this costs money, don't it? Okay, which is cheaper? This, back to the encampment, ambulance ride, hospital, encampment, back and forth, or this down here. Now, I just talk about myself. My disability salary is a little less than $12,000 a year. And I don't get food stamps or anything. And I'm very comfortable on my little old 11.5 thousand a year. Very comfortable. And this up here, from what I understand, costs between $40,000 and $45,000 per person. And according to the point-in-time count last year, there was an increase of 23% of unsheltered homeless people in Dallas. So my question is, how do we get this down here to happen instead of this up here with the city? Who pays the bill for this up here? The citizens of Dallas? Wouldn't it be cheaper just to do it this way? How do we get that to happen? Respite beds, rehab, housing. That's my question.
All right. Gentleman in the back.
Can I do drawing?
Yes, first of all, thank you all for showing me. My name is Rodney Oliver. And I'm an ex-con that has been out of prison since 2016. The gentleman made a good statement for the ambulance service. I have cellulitis in my leg, so therefore some days I can't walk. I have called an ambulance over 5 times in the last month. It's $1,000 each correct. I can't even get a house because my credit for bills, health bills and things of this nature. I am just also, but again, I can't use my disability to even get me a place to stay. So therefore, I'm sleeping on concrete every night. After begging people to help me, I'm not that type of person. I need some help, but I also have help for myself. So what does the city step in and help me? As a vet, also as a vet, where does the city step in and help me? I can't even ride the train without getting a ticket. Therefore, I have warrants out on me right now behind tickets trying to get either to the hospital, to get my medication, or either try to get over here and try to get some type of housing, which is $45 per application. Yet again, when you spend $45, they don't even call it back. Where is the city for me?
Okay, since you mentioned a couple of issues, I want to address a couple of them. First of all, the lady here from the Stew Pot, can you raise your hand? Okay. Do y'all still have that ticket clinic for people have tickets?
Lisa's been helping us with, Lisa with Office of Homeless Solutions, who's been coming down to the Stew Pot Mondays and Wednesdays, and getting the first about 18, 15 people that have tickets that she can take down to the court to get dismissed for community service and such. So yes, we are a location that if you want to come, or others that have some of those tickets, and we also have case work service.
But I have cellulitis in my leg, so I can't do no whole bunch of walking and moving around.
Okay, now are you referring to transportation?
Transportation.
Okay, now let me address that. Since you're homeless, you can get a 50% discount for DART. Maybe you're not aware of that, but we've had that program in place for the last year or so. So that will help you with transportation. you can get a $80 monthly pass for $40 when you get verification from your caseworker. So do you have a caseworker?
No.
Okay, well, you need to go to the bridge. Mr. Lomax here is with the bridge, and if you, hold on just a second, sir. Hold on just a second, sir. Hold on a second, sir. Mr. Lomax and the bridge staff can help you with that letter to get the discount from DART, and that will help you for your transportation. Now, I understand that you have some other issues, but we do have to maintain, some semblance of order in here. So we're gonna have to move on to another person. But those two issues, you need to address those, and then when you come back to the next meeting, sir, you address those two issues for us, and come back to the next meeting next month at this same place at the same time, and then we'll help you with your next series of issues, because that's what we're for, okay? All right, now, let's see, I think this gentleman over here on the left had his hand up.
Just let them listen to what people have to say.
Okay. Go ahead.
The issue that I have is, I have a 10-year-old felony, and every time that me and my caseworker go for housing, they always turn me down. So what do I do as a homeless person with a 10-year-old felony that can't get help? Where do I go from there?
Okay. All right. So, the commissioner and the mayor are taking note of your issues, and so then we're going to work on them in sequence. But I want to encourage everyone. This is just not a one-time shot and think something's going to change. When I was homeless, I was homeless, right? When I came here from Atlanta. I came from Atlanta because I was homeless and I wanted to get out of Atlanta. Atlanta has 50,000 homeless people. It makes Dallas look like Hollywood, Palm Beach. So I came to Atlanta, and a guy let me off downtown, right over here. And back then it was called a resource center. Okay, I don't know whether you're familiar with that, but because I was in Dallas and there were more resources at the resource center, I was able to slowly get myself out of homelessness. But it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. So if you come to one meeting and then don't come back for 6-8 months, in that length of time, some things may have transpired or happened that could have helped you, but we need you to come back. Okay, let's go on to the next person. This gentleman here with his hand up.
I got two quick questions. The mayor just said that y'all got $20 million that y'all are gonna buy some houses like own apartments or something for the homeless people. $20 million, something you were saying earlier, that y'all are buying apartments.
We're not buying them.
Oh, so y'all still gonna lease them?
No, it's money to be put in to help build new housing.
What do you mean by building? Like build them and the city of Dallas will own them themselves?
Or we give that money to a developer and they own it and operate.
Okay, well, why don't we give that money to the city of Dallas and y'all just buy the apartment complexes? So guys like him and other guys like me that have criminal records don't have to go through that. And then go back to this question right here. To solve this problem, we're doing a lot of monuments, a lot of stones that cost thousands and thousands of dollars to decorate Dallas. Why don't we buy another building for the people that comes out the hospital to get fully healthy, and then they'll go back into whatever program they're in, and to save taxpayers another, 20-some million, $30 million a year by buying a $5 million building, put them in there, when they come out the hospital, till they finish their medication, they go back to the doctor to completely cure them and get the 100% that they are healthy or whatever they went into the hospital for. $5 million, and we can look around Dallas, we got some decorations, big stones and stuff, probably about $15, $20 million, buy a building and own it. Just like you buy your own apartment complex, let the city of Dallas own it. We get a third of our check for the people that's come in that having a hard time getting apartments, and eventually it'll pay for itself back to the city of Dallas.
All right, Robert.
Yes. My name is Robert. Got two questions. Sir, Mayor, I've been talking about this for a long time. Dawson State Jail. I brought it up many times. No one has said anything about it since it was in the newspaper. Only thing that the Homeless Solutions has offered is extra beds at a shelter. I'd like to know what happened at the Dawson State Jail, because you talked about $20 million for permanent supportive housing. Sir, I went to jail because before I got to permanent supportive housing. And we need to find out what can be done at Dawson State Jail to be rapid rehousing. And sir, you don't understand. That needs to be important more than permanent supportive housing right now. But you just mentioned permanent supportive housing for $20 million. And that troubles me. And plus, one more other thing, sir, that really gets me is the community survey said infrastructure is number one. I mean, homeless problem is number one, okay? In your bond, 2% of the money went for homeless, 50% went for infrastructure. $500 million went for infrastructure, $20 million went for homeless, but the citizens said they want the homeless problem solved more than infrastructure. That shows me the interest is not there, okay? I've been saying this for a long time, and I'm troubled that rapid rehousing is not on the table right now. Before, let me tell you something, the permanent supportive housing is out there, you just have to wait. I waited 14 months. You need to put that $20 million in rapid rehousing so that people get off the streets to make a living before they get the housing there, sir, maybe, because the streets is terrible, and no one's ever talked about it. Larry James never talked about it. You don't talk about it. Sometimes Nadia will talk about rapid rehousing, but you directed $20 million for permanent supportive housing. It takes you a year to get it because you got to be a year homeless to get it. Why are you having the homeless people stay on the streets? It's terrible. That's what really gets me, Mayor. I'm glad to be here, but you got to, when I talk, no one ever talks about what's the latest with Dawson State Jail. It's on the table, and no one says anything about it. I'd like to know what's happening to the Dawson State Jail, okay? And it's just, nothing's happening. And you need to do something about that, sir, because they're staying on the streets. It's killing. I went to jail 4 times on purpose to get off the streets. You gotta understand that. Thank you.
Okay, before you come to, you two gentlemen, you and then you, I have to ask a question about a payer source discrimination. I'm having the issue, I use a housing. No, I'm just looking in the whatever direction you want me to look. Since you were that way, I turned my head, right? I mean, sorry. Payer source discrimination is an issue that I have. And what that means is I use a housing choice voucher. They used to call them Section 8. Yeah. And I don't have a criminal record. I pass background checks. I can pass an FBI background check. But because I use a voucher, landlords just tell me they don't accept the voucher, which is a guaranteed form of payment greater than any job you could have unless you're the owner of the business. Because I'm never going to get fired, never going to get laid off. And so we have a problem with that, because what that does, if a homeless individual gets a voucher, or a person not necessarily homeless, I remember when I was at City Hall one time, a lady who was not Katrina, what was that disaster they had in Houston? Harvey. She was a Harvey refugee, and she had a voucher, and she could not find an apartment because they kept telling her you have to have 3 times the income of the rent and this, that, and the other. We don't accept it. So that exacerbates the homeless problem. We can't get the homeless people out of shelters into permanent housing because 3,000 or 4,000 vouchers won't be accepted. And I've even heard you mention this before in certain circumstances. So we definitely have to tackle that issue. I would hope that even though Austin has their own policies and that they passed an ordinance that protected veterans and disabled, that left out about 80% of the people that use the vouchers. Women with families, kids who might be in high school and need a place to stay. We definitely have to have the intestinal fortitude to challenge Austin and say this isn't right. And say, hey, if we have to go in court and fight it out, we need to go in court and fight it out because the lives of people are depending on it. People are dying in the streets because they don't have a place to stay. And the legislature, they have a place to stay. But the people who are homeless, it's easy for they don't have to interact with.
It's been presented the last few sessions.
Right, and they keep saying no, and it's like it's reminiscent of, well, I can pay the fare, but I can't sit in front of the bus. I have to go to the back of the bus. Or if I can get on the bus at all, even though I have the money. It's the same issue. So we need to see if we can address that. Okay, I'm gonna move on to.
I want to just say one thing, because Robert brought up the issue of rapid rehousing. And in my discussion on permanent supportive housing, I don't want to belittle the importance of it. And I think, look, there's got immediate shelter needs. We need more of those. We need rapid rehousing, and we need permanent housing. So it's going to have to be all three, and we're going to have to figure out how to do that. Thank you.
Sure. Hold up. I pointed to this gentleman, and then there was a gentleman in the back with the hat on, the white piece of paper in his hand. Okay, go ahead, sir.
How y'all doing this morning? I'm glad y'all here. Appreciate it. I'm talking about something. I hope it doesn't offend anybody, but it needs to be talked about because it's true. You know, it's real out there. Anyway, the reason I don't get housing is I'm an SO, okay, and I'm on the streets. I know several of them on the street. And
I'm sorry, sir.
What is an SO?
And sex offender.
Sex offender, okay.
Sex
All right,
offender.
all right.
And they're on the streets. Now, my deal is I get out of jail or then I'm going good. And once I get a job, and go to try to get housing, nobody will accept you.
Okay.
So I've been turned down. You know, I understand the safety of the community and all, and I'm with that. I wouldn't care if they moved the house way out in Seaville, put us all out there. I just need permanent housing. Because when I'm on the street, I'm doing good, but by being on the street, I go back to my old ways. You know, the drugs and alcohol, because I don't have permanent housing and I'm a SO.
Okay.
But also, this is another address. Once thing now, I'll be quiet with this. Once I get the job, okay, as a homeless person, we have to register every 2 weeks. Well, with my job, when I get a job, I can't run down there every 2 weeks. And the deal is, I found out this in jail. Really, we don't have to register but once a month.
Okay.
But the police department is making us come down there every 2 weeks. The last job I had, that became a concern because I would have to leave every 2 weeks and go do that. But that's, you may take in consideration because you got a lot of SOs out on the street, and I've been like that for years, and I haven't reoffended because, it's just a dumb mistake. But I take responsibility, but may want to address the problem with SOs being out on the street and getting housing.
Okay. All right, that gentleman right there with the striped shirt is paper in his hand.
My name is Rodney Taylor. I'm a person with long-time recovery. That gentleman right there with the white shirt on presented something to the floor this morning. What can we do at the bottom from the top? I have to do like you. I'm all the recovery. And there's no support. I currently fellowship over at Apple, over in the south side of Dallas. My housing case manager is from City Square. Mr. Alonzo is great. My coach is over at Apple. And those people that's here, we talked to, he presented the problem and he presented the solution from the bottom to the top. If we could have 30 righteous people to come from the street, sometimes I sleep in front of the old resource center on the concrete over there. I'm currently on the walk-in across the bridge, sleeping over off Jefferson right now, waiting on my housing to kick in. We could have 30 righteous people from my clergy, from my city, to come from the bottom to be a part of the solution. When somebody drive up and give us some meals, showering over at our calling, cleaning our clothes over at our calling, the bridge got what they got for us, we see all that. But I'm talking my recovery, the focusing is the solution, bring the answer. And we need people. Mayor, I respect you, I love you, for what you're doing for our city and what you present to us today and allowing us to have a conversation and being here so you can hear us from the bottom. If we could have 30 righteous people from our clergy, from our positive people to come from the street, from the bottom, and participate in those solutions. Walk with us for 21 days. How we get there, sir, with the white shirt on, how we get to those solutions, we have the people from the top to come to the bottom and walk with us to the top. Mayor, I salute you. I respect you. Thank you for allowing me to share with y'all today.
All right. Let's go to the lady in the back. Let's have a lady interact. You gotta speak louder.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning for being here today. My name is Regina Mendez, and I am currently being alcohol. And I'm here today speaking because I've been on the survivor for John for my array for variation when I didn't know about it. And I felt like that is affecting my situation. That is the reason why I'm out here. And I don't have the $200, $300 that they're asking for. So how can I go ahead and go about this so I can get back clear, get back to working, and going back to society?
Okay, hang on just a second. Ma'am, did you have a response?
There's something called community course. Is that what you?
That's what she-
Yeah,
this is
okay.
student.
And they have a night course, downtown Dallas, and they give you a way to sort of work that out. So you're not, having to pay money that you don't have. It makes it work. So can somebody here that can speak?
Yeah, community in the back.
Okay. Yeah. Can you give some info about that blue shirt and
Can you speak just a little louder, ma'am?
I'm sorry.
I can hear every picture you make.
Okay. I want to say one other thing about what lose my track of my thought. I want to talk about mental illness.
Yeah.
Mental illness is a big driver of homelessness, and I think that we need more mental illness counseling, easier access to mental illness counseling, because it seems like that's a heavy component of homelessness, and unless we address this mental illness issue, and drug abuse can come from other root causes. But mental illness is something that you may not have as easy a control over. You can say you can detox and get off of drugs, but you can't really detox if you have a schizophrenia problem or if you have a manic depressive problem. So I think that we need more access. I've asked even for this meeting to have someone who's a mental illness specialist attend, so that when we have someone who we pretty well can tell that they have a mental illness issue, we can get some counseling to them immediately, and if we can get them on proper medication or whatever it takes, it may have an effect on their stay in homes. Okay, let's go on to somebody else. The gentleman with his hand up.
Yes, I'd like to ask the mayor, when I came from North Carolina in '76, I came to Dallas. And I was really just looking for a way to get out of Dallas to another city. But they offered me a job. And I started working in 1976 at that Fair Park. I worked for the city of Dallas 15 years. And then I committed a crime, went to prison, and come out. And now I can't find jobs because they said, well, you're too old. I said, well, I can do something. I can wipe tables, pick up paper. It doesn't take a strong man to do that. I know I can't do what I used to do. I can do the tree work and all that stuff I used to do. But I appreciated them giving me a chance to have a job and work at home for a place like the city. And this city is big, and I know this thing about the online. Man, I don't know about a computer. Just turn it on. That's because I'm illiterate, because I'm trying to find a place where I can go to school and they can get more stuff one-on-one help through there. And I'm going to check, I hear somebody talking about the city square. They got some cottages across there. I'm going to go there next month. And I'm going to check out and see whatever it takes to get there, and I'd like to try to find a job doing something. I don't keep working. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
This gentleman here.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, being here. I just on that in one city, I think it's Detroit, that sometimes that one of the recreation centers, one of the has been used for homelessness. And I was thinking that with the different camps, that perhaps most of it could be all of it, and so therefore maybe certain city government emergency alternate homeless services centers can exist. One would be potentially in the future, maybe there could be domes, stadiums, football, and baseball with 44,000 seats. Same thing about arenas with 44,000. I've heard some of the seats are bad seats. That's why I said that. Then we talk about the city recreation centers, the activity rooms. No one should be outside during the wintertime, as well as any other time of the year. And perhaps to help finance, I know Texas, I think, is the only state in the country that does not have a state income tax system. At one time, I heard Texas receives more money from the federal government than it gives to the federal government. So maybe Texas can consider getting a state income, even if it means losing some of the oil companies that have provided much revenue to the state. I've heard that was the reason why. That was a long time ago. I think things have changed now. The military weapons are getting more sophisticated. They call smart ships, smart airplanes, smart everything. So maybe we could have certain alternate resources during emergency times. Thank you.
Okay. I want you guys to keep in mind, though, some things are not within the governmental purview of these
City
fine
and county.
people. This is city government and county government. So anything that happens on the state level, we really won't be able to do. Okay? Now, there's a young lady in the back who a friend of mine, I want to wave. She's a new homeless solutions director. Could you come up for a second and introduce yourself just for 20 seconds? Come on down.
Monica, come on.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica Hardman. I'm the director of the Office of Homeless Solutions. I've been with the city a little over a month now, and I really appreciate the opportunity to hear from each and every one of you. I know that your voice is extremely important, and part of the role of our new office is to work with you guys to hear the concerns and to work diligently to make a difference. We realize that change does not come overnight, but I want you guys to know that we are here to actually hear from you. I know oftentimes people think of the government as, bureaucrats that really don't care, that we have a top-down approach, but we actually have a team that is dedicated to be out in the streets as our outreach team to hear concerns and to acknowledge that and to connect you guys to resources. I would like to acknowledge my street outreach and resource manager, Ms. Deborah DeLay, if you could just wave. And then also one of our staff, Ms. Lisa, who I know many of you know. She's been very active. She was one of the very first in our department. She's been out here with you guys and she does a phenomenal job. So I just wanted to recognize them. I also have Erica Johnson here with me today. She is new as well, but she'll be focused on operations and performance management. So she's going to be getting involved with you because we're doing a strategic plan where we'll be out in the community hearing from you to see what the needs are so that we can make a difference. Is there anything specific you wanted me to?
No, I just want you to, since I know you're just coming on board, I just want you to introduce yourself, and if you want to say something, feel free.
Well, I'm here. I'm here, so I have some cards. I'm willing, this is a public forum. I know we won't have answers for you guys today, but we're taking notes so that we can work on it. But please feel free to come up, talk to me, give me your information, and I'll be accessible. Thank you.
Okay, back to the questions. This gentleman with his hand up.
Thank you. My name's Warren Trainer. I'm from South Carolina. I just got here last night. I spent $224 to get here to make way for my daughter and my grandkids to come here. I get kicked out. I get kicked out the bus station because my home where I was supposed to stay with a friend of mine didn't follow through. Or I get kicked out the bus station. I have a pacemaker. This is my pacemaker. This keeps me alive. I have to have discharge all the time. I don't have no way to charge it. I almost had a heart attack Sunday. I had to go to Parkland. I still don't have nowhere to come to. I'm on disability, sure. My money comes January 1st. Book, sink or crook, I'm leaving Dallas. I love Dallas. That's the only reason I came. I worked for the Dallas Cowboys and the Dallas Mavericks from 99 to 2005. I'm a vet. I did all that. But all I need to know is, how can I keep this charge so I don't die in Dallas? You know, that's all I ask. Fine, can you tell me where I can keep this charge while I walk the street when I ain't supposed to be walking the street? You know, I went to Stupot. I found Stupot. Had it been for me finding Stupot, I'd be dead on the street. You know, when nobody can. I go ask questions. People around here act like they don't even know where they live. Oh, I don't know where this is. Well, can I charge this at the library? Oh, they take out the plugs.
So you're more than welcome to come to the library. You're more than welcome here.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Because this, if I don't get discharged, I'm dead.
Okay.
But when January the 1st comes, I'll make that move back to some other state and try to find a good house. Somebody who's gonna really help.
Hold on just a second. Siobhan, you got anything?
You can charge this phone here at the library.
Let me ask you something. What type of charge do you have to have? AC charge?
Yeah, I have a, but listen, I paid all my money in these high-price hotels they got, so now I done ran out of money. They kick you out of the hotels, they put you out on the street, say, okay, we ain't worried about your problem. You just ain't got no money, so you need to go.
Okay,
You know,
have you been to the bridge?
Yeah. No, I went to the bridge after I had almost had a heart attack. I walk in the door, I'm disrespected off the muscle. So I turn right around and I left. I'm not finna do this. I don't have to put up with this.
Okay, hold on a second. Mr. Lawrence, can you?
I wanted the guys that take a paperwork. Nah, I don't have to put up with that.
Sir, I want you to talk to Mr. Lomax.
Nah, the bridge is not where I'm trying to go.
Okay.
It's just out. I already know that's not the place for me.
Okay. All right.
I already know.
Okay. Next.
You can fool me once, but you can't fool me twice.
All right, sir.
Yes, my name is Kendall. I went to Dallas Street Choir. We have a song that says we might be homeless, but we're not bossless. And I appreciate the opportunity for us to come in and you know, let our voices be heard. But my thing is, like on the weekend, you have all these people that come down from these different churches, from these different groups that tries to feed the homeless. And I understand they say, well, okay, the trash, but you have city trucks that come down and put trash bags on it. And some of the homeless, including the people, picks up the trash. But you have security from the bridge that comes around and said, oh, they can't feed here. Y'all have to move here. Then you got the city police, they said, no, you move over there. It's a conflict between the two. But like he was saying about the bridge, you have somebody need to oversee that because you have new security there, you have new people there that treat the homeless, excuse my expression, like trash. They talk to you bad, they treat you bad, and I've been using the bridge on and off for years, but this has been the worst time for the bridge. And like I said, when these people spend their money and their time to fix their food, and they come down here and they talk to them just like they talk to us. Oh, you can't feed in here. Well, y'all need to find somewhere else to go. You need to be in a gated place. But nobody that have the gate will let them come in and feed. And on Sundays, this over here where Soul Church feed, the people let them come in. But these other places, you know, and then they say, well, y'all just have to go some, and it's getting limited more and more and more. And like I say, the Dallas police is not the bad thing, it's more than the bridge security.
So what you're saying, they need a designated place that they can have available, so they can feed whenever they want to.
So they park their cars. They used to get on these lots. Then they have security They come and say, well, you can't feed on these lots because the lots are owned by other people. Okay, they understand, so they parks on the street. Then they come and say, well, you can't feed on the streets. Okay, and they run them from area to area, and then they get frustrated, we get frustrated, then instead of solution, there's a bigger problem. And then you have those security that talks real rough and tough and bad, you know, a bunch of youngsters. But, and this is a new job to them, they have been into it long enough to know, you know, really how to deal with it, and it's getting worse instead of getting better.
Okay, all right. Ma'am?
Hello, my name is Felicia Turner. I just have an idea. Have you all ever thought about like the people that are hired up, maybe they assume themselves to come across as if they're homeless, and then they go stay in the shelter to see how people treat people, because I feel like a person, I operate a soup kitchen, but I'm homeless, and I have a lot of goals that come with my soup kitchen. However, there's a lot of people that's working in the shelters and whatever to give back to the community, but they don't have any compassion, or they're very rude or disrespectful. And I feel like there should be a requirement, especially with people that are in these situations. Not saying that we're all adults and we're responsible for where we're going and we're trying to get there, but it's hard when you have a mindset of being down so low and then people steadily keep you down. Versus if you see for yourself what some people are doing, not coming in there with your, as, you know, in your position, but coming in there as another individual, as a homeless person.
All right. Anyone else? Let me go to this gentleman right here, and then I'll go to you.
Yes, sir. I was illegally incarcerated. I did 33 years. EPS for clear record. Dallas County is refusing to bring before a judge and exonerate me in open court like he should. And I wonder if there's anybody here to help me with that.
Come on. So you're saying that you need expunge, or what are you saying?
In other words, my record is clear with EPS, appeals court and law school is clear my record. I had to do all this litigating by myself over time. And Dallas County is refusing to just bring me before a judge like it should and exonerate me openly.
Okay.
In other words, the information and stuff is still on their records, the computers, and so forth. And I, DA, I would talk to the public defender, Chief Ben Richardson, Faith Johnson, and, you know, I need some help with that.
Okay.
Can you ask him what they told him?
Can you come up?
Yes, sir.
Come on up and then you talk to this lady right here. She needs more detailed information. The gentleman, oh, I'm sorry, you.
I'm going back to the mayor. Back to what I was saying, you never did answer. Can you like give a little, what you call it, groups for people investigate stuff and see would it be more profitable for the city of Dallas, like they got the little college across from City Square? Can you see would it be more profitable for y'all to buy some apartments and let us pay our way back, you know, let us pay for them with like a third of our check, or we give it, you know, like I get disability, 100% minimum disability, and I have to pay like $2.32 a month. But if y'all buy the apartment for the city, you know, the city of Dallas Brown, and I think, you know, we pay the third or whatever we do, I think that'll put money back into the city of Dallas. You know, can you like hire some people, how they do their little research? Would that be more profitable? Would that get more homeless people off performing? If we start out with a 500 unit apartment, it's just for ex-homeless. But of course, it's gonna have to be, it's not gonna be no regular walking apartment. You might have to hire security. You know, you have to have tougher rules, but when they sign their lease, that's understood. You know, or at night or something, unless you got a good reason to be out. You need to be in your house, or something like that. For like, you know, you start out with like a 500 unit apartment complex, that's 500 ex-cons. You got streets to be like the man said, sex offender, stuff like that. That's more or less risk and danger to the public, and it'll be more safer, be less worries and things like that. And then we can pay the city of Dallas. Dallas, like you charge us $300 a month. You know what I'm saying? But we'll be giving back to the city of Dallas.
So, let me answer your question, because it really has to do with the idea that was first laid up. This is this is correct math, and it's very basic math.
Okay.
We spend, you mentioned $40,000, I've heard that number, for every homeless person on the street. And it's ridiculous that we don't use that money in a better fashion, okay? Something that is more sustainable. Now, here's the problem. The problem is that it doesn't cost the city of Dallas $40,000. It costs the county 10, it costs the man sitting right next to you 15, okay? It costs somebody else 12, okay? And it is the combination of all that, and then who puts the money up and operates it. So, I'm not making excuses, but this is why we're trying to make sure homelessness goes away. Not only because of the moral issue, but it's economically not smart. And that's what you mentioned, beds coming out of the hospital. We've thought about those, and I think those are important. That's why rapid rehousing is important as well. So, what does that all mean? That's why we've created the Dallas Area Partnership, because we're trying to work together so the left hand knows what the right hand's doing, and the city can put some capital in, Fred can put some health care in, the VA's got a lot of money, how do they come in? And now we start working on one balance sheet, if you will, one cost center, and we can see how we start to save money when that happens. And right now, up to this point, because of the way governments are organized, everybody's done a little bit of things, but it's one, really, 1 minus 1 minus 1. I mean, it really is this way as opposed to 1 plus 1 plus 1. Okay?
Okay, the reason why I say that.
And so we're working on it.
Okay, but the reason why I say that is because I had a voucher. And I went to, my case manager was to Wasky back then and Sister Catherine. I went to over maybe 48 different apartment complexes, and I couldn't use my voucher.
Yeah, it's the issue at the state level that we've talked about. And so we've got, look, those are hurdles that we've got to get over. They're not excuses. They're hurdles we got to get over and solve around those things.
Okay, but if the city of Dallas will buy apartment complexes, and you would take extra ones and send them off the street. I think you lose with that, and then they paying you rent.
I understand.
You're absolutely correct. So now we need to move on.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
I think that gentleman, somebody else I want to call on who had their hand up. Mr. Webb. We can't hear you.
Speak up, please.
Can you come on up or speak a little louder? Come on up. Just come on up. You can take mayor's spot.
Just don't sit in the seat, don't feel like it.
I got no aspirations to be mayor. I'm Ken Webb, I'm the chair of the Citizen Homeless Commission, Homelessness Commission. So we're going to be, here we go. So we're working closely with the Office of Homeless Solutions, and we're working closely with Park Solutions. So, a couple of responses.
You don't know what you do.
We are, our commission is designed to be sure that all members of our community have a voice in the process. So we have meetings every month. We try to listen to all what stakeholders have to say, as persons experiencing homelessness as well as neighbors. We've got several initiatives going on that kind of address some of your issues. First of all, the discrimination against source of payment, which makes it hard to use the vouchers. As the mayor said, that is, to prohibit that on a system-wide basis would require the Texas legislature to take action. However, we do have some proposals that we're just starting to work on with the Office of Homeless Solutions, including a master lease program where the city is going to work with the apartment association to have master leases where the city would be on the lease, but then it would sublease to folks that are in need of housing. And so we can use that as leverage to require the landlords not to discriminate. And so that'll be, there'll be some vouchers involved in that program. And And in order to participate in that program, we'll be able to use that to try to start prohibiting landlords from discriminating against voucher holders. Now, on the issue of the city buying an apartment complex to use for homeless, problem, and that is a good idea. I absolutely agree that housing the homeless is much cheaper than the amount of money it takes to provide the services, emergency medical services, et cetera, that they require. We have $20 million out of the bond fund, and as Mr. Ceccarelli pointed out, that's a very small fraction of the overall bond package. We working with the Office of Home Solutions, estimate that the housing that we are going to be working on is going to cost $200 million. So we can't just use that money to buy an apartment complex. We have to use it in cooperation with others, with real estate developers, with nonprofits, and other funding sources, so that we can multiply the impact of that, so we can use that as seed money, the $20 million that the city has. We can use it in partnership with others, so that we can use it to result in $200 million of housing. So that is something we're working on, and the bond money is not designated strictly for permanent supportive housing. It can also include rapid rehousing and transitional housing. It's all for facilities related to homelessness. So I don't know if that answers your question completely, but I think it addresses some of the concerns that you were talking about.
Okay, this lady with her hand up.
Yeah, I would like to know, you indicated that you guys are working on the voucher situation in terms of this lease type, sublease agreement. What is the time frame for that? Or what type of time frame for all of these initiatives that you're putting on the table? I think it's important to let people know what is the time frame.
That's an excellent question. There's frustration in the community that nothing's being done, and there's frustration among us, work people within the city, the county, and on the commission, that it takes time to get these things done. But that initiative is a new one. It's going to go to City Council for approval in June. And so the Office of Home Solutions, and Monica can speak to this in more detail than I can, has had discussions with the Apartment Association, as well as some nonprofits, about how we go about funding that. So I think once we get the go-ahead from City Council in June, we'll start working on that right away. Now, the bond package money is going to be a longer-term process. We do hope to start asking for proposals from the developers. That will be ideally the developer will come with an idea that outlines the partners that they will use to develop. So how much city money would be needed, how much nonprofit money they may be able to raise, how much money of their own they're going to invest in the project. So that's going to be what's called an RFP process. So that we're going to request proposals from developers on specific projects. So unfortunately, from today until the time that a new development, for example, opens, maybe a number of months. So if we can get something done this year, frankly, that would be an accomplishment. It may not be a new development, there may be redevelopments. The proposal will have to be tied to a specific site. So once we get a proposal that's approved, it's going to be relating to a specific project, and it's going to have specific funding lined up. So that's going to take some time, but that RFP process is going to begin, we hope, next month, and we're halfway through the year next month. So if we can get a project open this year, I think we can something to celebrate. We're understanding that even that seems frustrating.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Mr. Wood, I want to ask you a couple questions. How long is your board going to be in operation? How you want to do it?
Yeah, I think part of your question may relate to the fact that there was a study commission in 2016 that was designed to produce a report, which it did. Now, this commission is new, like the partnership, and the commission is indefinite duration. It has no end date. Now, the initial term for the individuals, like myself, serving on the commission, and is 2 years. But then I'll be reappointed new members will be appointed by the city council. So it's intended to be around indefinitely. And by the way, Linda Dorner, there is one of my co-commissioners. So
Okay, and I want to follow up. You remember, I had this discussion with you at a preliminary briefing of the council. When I look at the demographics of the board, I only saw one African American man, and the homeless population is 70 or 80% African American men. And I'm trying to find out what you guys want to do to address that disparity in demographics. I mean, how many black men are on the commission?
There's one African American man, two African American women, there's two members who have personal experience with homelessness. But you're right, like many institutions, we don't parallel the demographics of the community. We live in a city that is racially and economically segregated, which is one of the issues that we are trying to tackle, including not my commission in particular, but the housing, the new housing policy, attempt to address that. But for the purposes of my commission, there are two vacancies, and next time I have a real opportunity to address that. 2019 would be.
So when I asked Councilman Kleiman about it, I never got a response. I asked him about that. When you said they had to appoint someone, is that correct? The councilperson or whatever has to appoint someone to that board, or how's that work?
Yes, we have 15 members, we have two vacancies, so each city council member and mayor appoints one member to the commission.
Okay. Well, I'm qualified, what do I have to do to get?
I can't.
I know that, but I mean, I approached the councilperson, so what I'm saying is, 2 years or whatever, that's not, I mean, we need something done to get it down now. So, you know, I'm not putting it in your bailiwick because you don't have authority to personally appoint me, but we need to address that, and I have to put it out. Okay, so, because, you know, people who are not directly involved have a tendency to be insensitive, and the problem doesn't get fixed. And, you know, I'm eminently qualified to talk about homelessness. So I just want to say that again.
No, that's a very valid point. You and I,
we discussed it, and you gave me your advice, and I followed it, and it's still work, so.
Yes, sir.
All right, now, okay, I'm sorry. Anything else?
No, I just say, unfortunately, the makeup of the commission is not something we can change. Certainly, try to be open to understandings of all different segments of our population.
Okay. Now, the gentleman with the green shirt.
Thank you for the time. I'm from, Mike Roy, I'm from Los Angeles, California. I've been home 6 years, and I went to St. Louis. I got rehab, and I'm sober now since March 8th.
Great. Good.
Thank you very much. So they had a cap on the funding for Greyhound. They only had to serve out for us to get, so we had to stop in Dallas. You know, we're trying to get back to LA to our 3 kids, and our job, and our family. But we had to go out of funding. You know, and I'm from here. We got twice my house last night. You know, I don't know. We don't know what to do. We're out of time trying to get to LA. Is there any funding or no like we can get back home?
All right, at 2 o'clock, do you know what you know what the stew pot is?
Yep, Brenda's giving them.
Okay, that lady right there, talk to her. She's gonna help you.
Okay.
No, tell them to meet me there at 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Siobhan says meet her. Siobhan, the African American lady here. She said meet her there at 2. Okay, folks, we gotta maintain some order. Folks, you getting out of order. Phone's going off. Everything. We got order.
We only have about 10 more minutes, so let's just keep it together for about 10 more minutes. All right?
Yeah, they go rap. They need to go rap. Then she was to rap.
Excuse me.
Hello.
Thank you.
About 2 months and 2 weeks, I'll be 60, and I've lived in Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas, Philadelphia, but I know that it'd be a good idea in some regards to have a lot of ex-convicts in regular apartments, but I think the federal government should have ex-convict centers and separate the men from the women and have the misdemeanors and the felonies, because some of those guys are hardcore criminals. And some of them.
Okay, I have to stop you because you keep going out of jurisdiction.
Okay.
This is not federal.
Okay.
This is city and county. So can you please keep your comments to city and county government solutions?
There's city ex-convict homeless shelters. Okay. Homeless shelters designed for some for the just for the men and some for
Ex-offenders.
the women. Yes,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All
Yeah,
right.
they're not in regular houses or regular apartments, the mainstream. The shelters, residential centers, they reside intentionally
Okay.
in the ex-convict homes.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Got you.
I'm apartments away from residential centers.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's like you read my mind, because I see that most of us who are homeless are compartmentalized as all homeless, and there's no separation between substance abusers, mentally ill. You addressed that a little while ago, and people who don't have any of those issues.
Right.
So you kind of get lumped in with everybody, and you kind of get lost if you don't have any of those
Right.
pervasive
That was the problem I
issues.
had. That was the problem.
And what could be done so that they're all separated, so that you can streamline people easier? Because like in the bridge, they don't accept you, you don't have a substance abuse problem. So in this gentleman's case, you know.
Can I hold on? Okay. When you make a comment or disseminate some information, it has to be accurate. Okay. I'm not criticizing you. But what I'm saying is, when you make a statement that the bridge won't take you if you don't have a drug problem, that's not accurate. Okay, so we've got, you may be misinformed.
I'm listening.
Okay, so right, I'm glad you're accepting it the right way. So for anybody else who's in the meeting or looking on Facebook Live, that is not accurate. The gentleman just accidentally is misinformed. The bridge accepts anyone, regardless of whatever their situation is, if they're homeless. Is that correct, Mr. Long?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Now, there was one other thing that you mentioned about, hold on a second. One other thing that you mentioned about not having antisocial issues. I had the same problem. I was refused housing. They asked you, are you ex-offender? I said no. Are you a drug abuser? I no. Are you mentally ill? I said no. They said you don't qualify for housing. But Mr. Charles Gully, who was in associated, he was second in command at MDHA a couple, 2-3 regimes ago. He came to bat for me. He said, no, the first prerequisite is, are you homeless? And that enabled me to get housing. So I've been through what you homeless people have been through, and I know all the pitfalls, all the traps. So I understand exactly what you're saying. But so I can tell you that you have to keep going. You have to keep continuing. I had to keep coming back to these meetings, and I had to get information on dental care, health care, housing by coming to these meetings. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question about Teresa Daniels, about our jail system and about creating programs. What are the possibilities of creating programs that a person that is incarcerated, that they can go ahead and get their job, be released from jail to work, and then come back, and that they can go ahead and have their apartment complex ready for when they're released, so that when they're released, they're not just out there, they can have all their ducks already in a row. One of the reasons I mentioned this is I seen a special on TV about Germany and about how they have a 91% success rate in doing that. And you say, well, you release them from jail, they're not going to come back. No, they do want to come back because they want to fix the problem. And they know that if they go, I guess, AWOL or whatever you want to call it, if they don't come back, that's the problem is still there. It's not fixed. And so what about some programs to put that into place because if they go out and they're homeless again, chances are they're going to commit crimes again and they go back to jail, back to homeless, back to jail, back to homeless. And so if we could create programs so that they can be successful when they get out.
You're absolutely right.
And so what's the possibility of appropriating
There's a
money?
lot that is already there that does exactly what you're talking about. It's called volunteering on everybody's part is part of it.
Well, what I'm really asking is funding for creating those types of programs to help with people to be successful coming out of incarceration.
I'm always looking for more funding, you better believe it. Yeah, thank you.
This gentleman with his hand raised? The one behind.
In the blue.
In the blue shirt.
Since the vouchers is not being used by various mental departments, Why can't we just take the balances, buy some land and build our own stuff, like the gentleman was saying right there, and be through with this balance thing?
Okay. And anybody else? Go ahead.
I was wondering if there be anything done regarding mandatory chapel sessions at UGM.
Okay. I can tell you from my knowledge, since we don't have a representative from Union Gospel Mission here, that is a private, religiously affiliated facility, and they have their own requirements. And MDHA or the forum do not have any enforcement or regulatory powers over them. So if you stay there, like I stayed there for like 2 years and I had to go to chapel. So I understand what you're saying, but there's nothing we can do about that. Maybe one day, Mr. Bowen has been here. I know him well, but that's part of what they do. So that's unfortunate, but that's why we're trying to work on solutions to get you out of that situation so that you don't have to, participate in an activity that you don't want to.
Hey, real quick, so just a second. You're city councilor, right?
No.
County commissioner.
Oh, can you check into can you get more, the city to hire us to clean parks? Even for sex offenders, they can't do nothing, clean the park at 6 o'clock.
I think you bring that up.
Clean the parks, hire more ex-cons to clean parks, clean bus stops, even talking to Jordan about cleaning bus stops, spraying water at bus stops, creating more jobs for the homeless like that. Cleaning parks, highway, picking up trash on the highway, that's a dangerous job. So use cons, ex-cons for it.
All right. Gentleman in the back with the blue shirt on.
I was just curious about the double search at the bridge. Why do we have to have our backs hand searched and scanned? Why is it one or the other? I mean, it's 2 searches of the same bag.
Mr. Lomas, do you want to respond? You going to be responding? Go ahead.
So the reason why they're doing the double searching, because we have the metal detectors at the front, but the metal detectors, if found, people are able to smuggle in drugs, alcohol, that's not set off by and weapons, they're not set off by the metal detectors.
Isn't the one a camera that they can see in there, the one that goes on the conveyor?
Those aren't always accurate, and what we found is things are still being brought in, and it's creating safety concerns because, as you all know, we have a lot of folks who are in recovery, and the recovery is very delicate. And when we have people coming in with K2, crack, heroin, et cetera, it creates issues.
Right. It's a safety issue.
Now, that also being said, it's not perfect. And I know sometimes you have to wait in line to come in. And, yeah, we got to be safe, but it is an inconvenience. So at times, absolutely.
It's better to be safe and be on the error on the safety side than on the convenience side. It's just like when you're riding an airplane, you don't want to stand in the line to get in the airport, but you don't want somebody to get on the plane with a bomb either. So,
and we're currently looking for ways to kind of streamline that a little bit better. So that is in the works. We're just not there yet.
TSA to have like a pre-check screen system where,
we're having
that would work. Well, I'm just gonna say one other thing.
Not yet.
Whenever it's my time.
I want to acknowledge Miss Tisha back there. Miss Tisha, she's formerly homeless, and she's on the commission that Mr. Webb heads. She's done a great job. She used to pick me up, take me to eat over at on Corinth, and I've been knowing her for years. And I know you guys got questions, but I want to allow Ms. Daniels to kind of get herself in there because she's really a person that we need to make sure we give her 100%. So go ahead, Ms. Daniels.
First of all, thank you very much for coming out this morning, and thank you, Mr. Holman, for holding these regular sessions. I'd just like to talk a couple of minutes because, and Rick, and Mr. Tetratic, no, I understand, it's all of us
not
working.
him, just me and Rick. Just me and Rick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's not, just me and Rick.
But it is us working together. I just wanted to talk a minute about from looking at from my experience and what we've been doing in response to a lot of the questions that you have brought up. because there's a real match there. And I really do appreciate your thoughts, because in that, part of my background has been in research, and so I read a lot, I listen a lot, and try to figure out first of all, what are the issues? Would that be helpful? And second of all, what our options are afterwards to address them. In doing a lot of that reading, housing is in some regards is a little complicated, in that we found that first of all, there's not enough affordable housing. Second of all, there's housing that we have that is substandard and needs to be rehabbed. Third, there is housing, but sometimes it needs to be matched better, so that housing is matched up with the family, if that's what the need is. And fourthly is people, I think I've heard somebody talking about that they had a voucher, well, a number of people talked about they had a voucher but couldn't find housing. So a part of it is that part of the matching. And then that once people are in housing, to see what we can do in order to keep them there. I was shocked to find out in talking to a lot of people who work with the Dallas Housing Authority of people kind of evaporating for a variety of reasons, which meant that they had housing, they were there, and something happened that they either were evicted or they went on to other situations, but they had the housing. So how can we keep people in housing that they need? Another underlying part of it is that in this room there were a lot of people who provide services, and we've heard from them. We've heard from the bridge, from the stew pot, from legal services, that there's a number of issues involved, and I guess I call it the system. Because chances are good that if you have one of the issues, chances are good you've got four of the issues. And that a lot of the people, all of the providers of services, don't communicate really well among ourselves.
Thank you.
So that it's difficult that, okay, let's say that you find a way to get your transportation addressed, but you still don't have a job. How do I get into that part of the system? So a part of it is also the gathering of information, and that all of us can talk together better. And that's not only in those people who are the providers, but also those consumers of the people who need the services. So that just that there's that network that then allows providers to work together better and consumers to answer their questions a little bit better. Which gets to another part, okay, behind that, because some of the people say that, well, from what I see a lot of the issues that you brought up, that there have been work, and we're in a lot of differing stages of addressing it. For example, on the people with felonies, who then are banned from certain jobs, from signing a lease. I know that the last probably 4, 6, 8 legislative sessions, I know that it's been brought up and has not passed. There's been a lot of work on seeing what can be done to make the language more amenable so it can be passed. But I guess the point in all this is to say that there's a lot that's in process. That doesn't make it better, and that doesn't make it easier if you need the service today. I mean, I understand that. That doesn't make it easier for you that I understand it either, except that, we're trying to bridge that gap between what's being worked on and what's in process, and actually getting, bottom line, getting the services out there. And I guess I'm saying this because you know much better than I do that it's a complex situation, and both on your ends, because you need the transportation, you need the health care, you need the mental health care, you need a place to stay, you need food, clothing. From where I sit, it's equally as complex. And in trying to bring together all of the people in the room, so that first of all, we know who's in which lane and who's doing a good job in that particular lane. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes who's already providing services, because we need all that. I mean, you know that as much as anybody else does, that there's plenty of work for everybody. But then part of it too is, and that's one of the reasons that I'm cautiously optimistic about at least the partnership is bringing the providers together, bringing the consumers together, so that we have a better shot at addressing some of those things and to address some of the issues that each one of these providers don't have the capacity to do. The bridge is not going out developing housing because they don't have the personnel, they don't have the funding. That's not their lane to do that. What I would like to see is that through the partnership that we can develop that particular aspect of what is not being addressed. I would like to do, with your permission, just to, if I can stop by at future sessions to listen more, to see, because I've gotten a couple of ideas here that I'd like to follow up on. I'm glad to see that there were providers of service here who could respond to some of the questions, because being one person, I know that it takes all of us. You cannot be everywhere. I can't know everything, although I do appreciate Mr. Red's admission that sometimes we know a couple of things. So I really do appreciate you coming out this morning and allowing me to be here to listen, and to see how we can continue to bring things together to do a better job in Dallas County. Bottom line, cannot do it on our own. Mr. Webb is, I know, I appreciate Mr. Webb and his willingness to stand up. But it is going to take all of us together to see how we can do a better job. Yes, sir.
If you reverse engineer the system of homelessness, could you see how to provide safety nets so that people don't even get this far?
Absolutely. If I ruled the world, you bet you'll sleep for two.
So is there a way?
Is there a way to go backwards? Yeah, you do know that there's a way to go backwards. And some of you have talked about it a little bit. And part of it is having the dark path so you can get to your appointments to get things done. Of being able to set up the appointments so that you have, who is a gentleman who had the knee issues, of getting the health care issues taken care of. But a part of it is, it's a system, and of seeing what we can do to make that system work a little better. I don't think I'm dreaming. I sincerely hope I'm not dreaming, in the respect that by, at least, and I know that some of the people who have been providers for a long time, being here and listening to other people talk, I know I learned today more about, for example, what the community, community legal services, what they're doing to help out, and what are the things that they can be doing. So I learned something too. Yes, Robert.
Daniel, the mayor talked about transitional, rapid rehousing, and permanent support. The money's not there to do all three. Okay, we don't have enough money, so when you try to provide all three, nothing's going to get anywhere. You got to pick one out and put the money into that.
Okay, I'm a believer in getting on all 8 cylinders. We go.
The money for
Now, wait a minute, just wait a minute. Because, okay, this year HUD is saying that this is the trend. So you know I'm gonna be hitting on that, on what they are saying, they have funds available this year. But you know, I'm not gonna give up on the rest of it, because there may be other ways that we can put together packages from either other parts of the federal government, from the state. I'm talking to everybody. I'm looking at philanthropics. I'm looking at other ways that we can address some of the
I
things.
just don't understand something that
Okay,
you
well,
know about getting off the
Rob.
streets. You just don't understand, you gotta get them off the streets. I did that, I waited 14 months for permanent supportive housing. Because I didn't have a place in Salvation Army for rapid rehousing, I would never have made it.
Okay.
Concentrating on rapid rehousing, the permanent supportive housing will be there.
I guess-
But you cannot do it on the streets.
I'm not gonna stop on the permanent, because that's the one that takes the longest amount of time.
But-
And if you
but-
don't start someplace,
Why-
you're never gonna
While
get
you're
there.
waiting, they're staying on the streets, Miss Daniel.
All right.
You don't know what it's like.
appreciate
Okay.
what you're saying,
All right.
But wait a minute, because also what I see there too is the need for the respite center. The need for then the very short-term people who need just a place to be overnight. Because I agree with you, but you need all the different stages of it.
Right.
It's called the continuum care. Come on, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're not on the streets, you will
Okay,
not understand.
but we can't
You
turn
do
this
not
into
understand, not on
we
the
cannot
streets.
turn this into a quarrel. Okay, this is a discussion. Okay, all right now.
We've had conversations before,
Right.
and I know we're not done talking.
Right.
either. And for that reason, I do want to say, thanks an awful lot for allowing me to come today to listen and to pick up, okay, where there are other things that we can be doing? Who else can we bring into the spectrum to address at a more complete, all 360-degree circumference?
Now, I want to say one thing before we leave. We have to leave. I want to see everybody back next month.
Okay.
Okay. We're going. The more people come, the more influence we can have on the situation. Because people, when they look at us, they say, "Oh, these people are serious." So I want to see you guys come back next month. Now, what are you saying, sir?
Well, I just want to say I appreciate that the city and counties work together, and I do know the commissioner here, and she is a good person, and she's a hard worker. As far as the legal perspective, representing the city of Dallas and the community court, I asked for literature here for any and whoever that might be interested, as far as want to know about your legal files, as far as ballot tickets and stuff like that. The community court, city attorney's office, has a night court. Thursday nights. Thursday night? Thursday night. Okay. Nelson Municipal, 2014 Main Street.
I ain't never heard of that.
Okay, we all learned something today.
Yeah, it's over 20 years. But I do have literature. I guess you can say it's the city office. But I'm gonna need some literature information, and if you have more questions after this meeting, I'd be more than happy to listen. And I have some business cards too as well, but I just want to say that as far as this coalition, I'm not thinking of the MDHA for establishing years to be up to now, that I think this is a very important forum for everybody to really get involved in all the different agencies, nonprofits, as well as with the city and the county and the state as well, and thorough, to really come together and work together.
We all gotta work together.
Yes.
I've also got cards up here if you'd like to get in touch with my office.
All right, let's wrap it up. It's
I
time
want
to
to
go.
thank Ms. Daniel for, the meeting's not over quite yet.
Whoa, yo.
Hello.
I've been out of town.
Hello.
Man.
Hello. I want to thank Ms. Daniel for coming out and talking to us. I want to give her a big hand. And so now I guess since we're over time, the meeting's adjourned.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer from Two Hats Publishing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please leave comments below, or like, follow, or subscribe to us and get notices of all our videos. We love it, even when you call.